I was asked this week how to make an easel card attached to a box. So I did a little search, Google search on easel card drawer box, and came up with all kinds of interesting ways that people have done this. You can look through them and get some ideas for creating your own. So what I did was just create a very basic design, sort of like this one in the upper left corner here, just simple, so you can decorate it how you'd like to decorate it. So I'll show you how I did that using Make the Cut. So I'm going to open Make the Cut. What I did was put each little design piece on its own page. So the first thing I made was the drawer piece. So to do that, I went up to Basic Shapes icon at the top of the screen and typed in SQ under the Find window to get a square. And I added that. The size of the square, I'm going to make a 6 by 6 inch easel card on a 6-inch square box. So I have a square here I want to resize. I'm going to leave it a square. And for the drawer, I wrote down the measurements in the notes here. For the drawer, I want to make it 8.875 inches, mainly because the box is going to be 9 inches, and I needed the drawer to slide in, so it needs to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to put up in the width 8.875 and press Enter with the gold lock icon. Makes a perfect square that size. So that gives me the outside lines of this design. Now to get the dash lines, what I did was just, I'm going to hold Control and Shift and just drag off this other piece. So I'm going to make this centerpiece the size of the card, which would be 6 inches. So I'm going to type in 6 and Enter. And then to center it all, I just select it and type the letter S on my keyboard. It stacks it perfectly in the center. So that gives me what I use for the dashed lines. I'd like to send this this inside piece to its own layer by clicking in the lower right corner, the smaller of the two green plus icons. That sends this center square to the top, and I'm going to select Line Style to make it dash, so I know that those are dash lines. Now the other thing that I need to do is create the additional lines here. Now there's several different ways to do that. These are the tabs that are going to be folding under to be glued to make this an actual box. So to make those, I think I'll borrow this square again, holding Control and Shift and just dragging, and I'm going to resize this to fit up in the corner. And with it selected and holding the Shift key and selecting the big box, I'm going to type L for left. I'll align those to the left, and T to align to the top, so it's perfectly in the top. And then I want to zoom in. I'm going to type 4 and 3 to zoom in really close. So I'm going to make this perfect. Now you saw how Brian was drawing in lines. So I'm not very good at drawing, and I want these to be perfect because the corners really need to be square. So I resize this and put it perfectly in position. What I want to do is copy this, so I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, or Control plus C, and then paste in place right on top of it another one, and you'll understand why I'm doing that in a little bit. Then I'm going to select both of these and hold down Control Shift and drag, and I drag these over to the other side and put them exactly in the corner. To do that again, I'll select them, hold the Shift key, select the big box, and type R this time to align them to the right, and T to align to the top. So now I have 2 boxes on each corner. I would like to zoom back out. I'll just type a 1 to take me to zooming to 100. I want to select both of those squares, and again Control Shift and drag. I have a couple more boxes. I'm going to put them in the lower corners. I really shouldn't have to do that. I'm going to delete those and just do it differently. Okay, so one of these layers of boxes, I'm going to click here, hold Shift and click here. I'm going to send them to their own layer. I'm going to hide them, and now I'm going to click on the other 2. Let's send them to their own layer, and I'll work on these. As you can see, this corner, I'm going to work on the dashed line right here. I'm going to leave the bottom line, and I'm going to get rid of the top 3 lines. So I'm going to click the second arrow on the left click on this line, left click on this line, and left click on this line. That leaves me one line here, which will be the score line there. I'm going to do the same over here on the right, though. I want the top one to be the dash line, so I'm going to delete this one, and this one. And so now what I want to do is select those lines that I just got and do, again, copy and paste in place. I'm going to drag those down to the bottom using my arrow key. The only thing is that they're in the wrong positions. Let's see if I mirror what happens there. So they're not really in the right positions. I didn't do it this way before, but I've got those 2 lines there. I know what I can do. I can copy, paste in place, and then just move them around, maybe. No. Should have done it my original way. Then what I'm going to do, I could just take this center square and this outside square and try not to move them when I select them, and I can rotate these around. No. Undo again. Oh, I know, I'm in a hurry, and I shouldn't be in a hurry. I will just slow down. So I'm going to go back here. You can see me do this again. I'm going to go to this layer here that I hid. I'm going to copy and paste in place so I have 2. And now I'm going to just go ahead and copy these to the bottom. So Control Shift drag, take them to the bottom, and I'm going to join them and type L to line them to the left and type B to align to the bottom. So now I have those squares aligned to the bottom.
I don't think you had them the outer box selected when you did the L and bottom.
Yeah. Left and bottom. Still not. Okay. Now I'm going to send this to its own layer. And we'll do that again. basically what I did was remove the lines. Instead of drawing, now you could draw them just like Brian did, or you can do the boxes and delete the extra lines. I'm going to line this again because I moved it all around top and left. Okay, still doesn't look right. Okay, so I'm going to do the dash lines, so I'm going to erase this, and erase this. Then over here on this side, I'm going to leave the vertical line. And then I can select this line that remains and make sure that it lines up perfectly. With the the vertical line there, using my arrow key. And then on this one, I want to save the solid line on the bottom. So I'm going to delete the top, just selecting, left click, select, and delete. And then over here, I want to leave the vertical line, so I'm going to delete the sides. And then on the bottom, I want to delete one of these will be vertical and the other will be horizontal. This one's going to be, I don't know which layer I'm on. I think I'm doing the dash lines first. And now I want to do the horizontal lines, so I'll delete the rest of them. And on this one, I'm going to leave this line standing, so I'll delete these. And this one needs to be moved over. And I've got these layers mixed up, so we'll see what I've got here. So ultimately, I end up with this kind of shape. I can break a line on this, right click and convert to line if it goes crooked. Left click on this line, right click and break node, then you don't see the extra rectangle. So one of these sets of lines should be dashed and one should be not dashed, but I think that I've mixed them up here. Yeah, fix that by clicking, left clicking here, right click. No, that won't work. I want to break the node. It won't let me.
I think that one's already broken because that's already a separate shape from.
So that's going to be, when those lines are correct, it's going to look like this over here. So that's going to be the drawer. The next part that I need to do is get this little cutout here. So to do that, I'm just going to grab from Basic Shapes. Got to click on the top arrow to get the selection tool, and under Find I'm going to type CI for circle, double click on the circle, and send it to its own layers. So then I'm going to put it down on the bottom and select it and the bigger rectangle and type V to vertically align. And now I'm just going to select the circle and move it up till that crosshairs is right on the bottom. Now I'm going to remove the circle from the square by going to the Boolean join and using VA difference and apply. So that gives me my little drawer tab to pull it out. The next section needs to be the wrap around the box, and that comes in two parts with the end folded over and the sides folded over with tabs so that the drawer slides in the front. So there's no tabs on the front, just the sides of a box. And then the second side is done the same way, but just about 1/16 of an inch smaller so that it will fit inside of this one. So to do this one again, it's a very similar process. The size on this one, box A, is 9.0625. So I'm going to add again a square, SQ, double click and close this, and I'm going to make this square 9.0625 with the green block on, 9.0625. Press enter, and then the length, the height would be 7.5625. 7.5625, enter. So I have this box, and I'm going to hold shift and control and drag, and I'm going to make the inside again 6 inches square, 6, tab 6, enter. And I'm going to vertically align these and then align them to the bottom by typing V for vertical align and B for the bottom. And again, I'm going to send this to its own layer, and it's going to be dashed lines. And I'll get another square here by selecting this, control shift and drag, and then I'm just going to resize this again for the corner. Maybe I'll do it right this time. And I'm going to select that square, type 4 to zoom in, and 3, and get it kind of lined up here with it selected. Hold shift and select a big box and type L for left and T for top, so they're perfectly aligned here on each side, and select the box and drag it over until it is perfectly aligned with that line. And I'm going to get the same thing, copy and paste. Did what Brian did, paste in place, and then move that over to the other side. And again, with that selected and the big box selected, I'm going to type T for top and R for right to align them. And
hey,
now...
Stop for a second. Undo twice. Okay. Notice, and this is just a tip for everybody, notice how the smaller square is just slightly above the bigger square, the bigger rectangle. So when you're aligning it, and you don't, in this case, you don't want to move the bottom, the big rectangle. So just because you're going to hit the alignment anyway, just make sure that the square is just inside both sides. So just pull it down and in. Now select the rectangle. Now do your top and right, and that way just the smaller square moves. If that box was a little bit outside like it was originally, you actually moved the bigger rectangle. So anytime you're aligning smaller things into a background, like in this case the rectangle, make sure that smaller shape is completely inside the other shape, and then do the align. That's just a tip.
Thanks. That's a good tip. I'm just doing it. I'm going to hold the Shift key and select this other square. I'm going to send both of these to their own layer and copy, Control C, and I'm going to hide those, and I'm going to do a new layer by clicking on the big plus, and now I'm going to do Control Shift V to get the other set here, and I'm going to make sure that I'm working on one box at a time, which I didn't do before. Okay, so on this one I want the dashed lines to continue up. So these are going to be dashed lines, so I'm going to erase the sideline. Left click, and delete, left click and delete, left click and delete, left click and delete, left click and delete. So now I have these two lines which should be dashed lines. There we go. And now I'm going to hide the dashed lines. I'm going to show the boxes again, and these are going to be the solid cut lines. And against the left arrow, and I want the solid lines to go across. So I'm going to delete the other ones. You could draw these all in and do them, but every time I draw, I don't get them lined up right. So having the boxes are easier to align to the sides than the lines are for me, so that's why I did that. So those are the cut lines. So if I show everything, then we see we have the design right there. Now I can break this line just so I don't see the extra square there. So that's the box, the outside of the box A. And the second part has the cut lines up. Now for the, and you make it exactly the same way. I'm not going to bore you with that again, but the main point being that this side is going to have the tabs fold down on the outside, and this one's going to have the tabs folded down on the inside, so you don't have as much bulk. And the bulk on here is in the back, the bulk over here is on the side, so that it won't get stuck inside. And then the last part, once you have the box, these are going to be glued together all as one piece. You just glue the overlap, the top with the bottom, glue the sides together, and then you have one big solid box that the drawer slides into. Well, then you make the easel card, and you make the easel card much like Brian did. Mine's a 6x6 though, so it's a little bit bigger. And so I just, again, I'm going to add a square, but I'm going to make this into a 6-inch wide. So press 6 and tab and make it 12 and enter. So that this is my card. And I'll do mine a little differently since Brian already showed you the way to draw in the lines. So Shift and Control and drag. I'm going to make this one 6 inches for the card itself and enter. What's going to happen is, as Brian demonstrated, you're going to make valley folds here and here, so the top folds down all the way over here, then open it up again and then fold here so that this line is folded down to this line. So it makes that little triangle. Then this card here is glued on the front of the folded piece so that it stands up, and this is the part you decorate So if we go over here, you see a standing card. So the box is folded here, and then this piece is just glued on to the folded piece. So to get this piece here, I can again Control Shift and drag, and then I can just make this a 3-inch high, enter, and I can align this here with the center, again holding both and typing L to get it aligned, and then zooming in to make sure that I have the bottom line right on the center line that you can see right there. And zoom out again. Now I don't need the sidelines, so I'm going to get that edit point tool, click the line, left click and hit delete, left click and delete. Now I'm going to get this little piece here and just send it to its own layer and change those lines to dashed. So I have my score lines. So the only thing left that I need to do here is do this stop, and I'll show you. Now Brian showed you how to do the flower, and he showed you how to do a text. I just added to the center of the card. I just type in CI for circle, but I'm going to use this half circle. I'll just add a new layer first and then double click on the half circle, which is added up here. And it's pretty big. I don't really need it that big. Maybe 1 inch wide would do. Type in a 1, enter, oops, undo, make the lock on here, and then type in 1, enter. Now it's upside down, so I'm going to click on mirror here, and again I'm going to vertically align it by typing V and just move it down to where I want it. You can put it wherever you want, but I pretty much want the top of the card to fold down to the center. So I just need to get rid of the bottom line here. I select left click to select it. It's gone. Now I have a little tab that can pop up. If you want, you can add score lines there. What I'll do is select that and select my card and join it. So that's all one piece right now. And then if I want to draw a line, I can left click on the pen, add a new layer, and I'm going to hide that. Well, it's not letting me hide, so I'm going to just make sure I don't click that dot. Left click and right click. So now I have a score line there if I wanted. I probably won't use a score line there because it's such a small piece, but I'm going to just make it a dash line for now. And that's the card piece. Then you can make your own decorations and all. I know we're out of time, so what I'll just show you, I made a gift box here to put the whole thing in if I wanted to ship it. And to get the gift box, what I did was go to Template Maker and selected a box with a lid. It could be this one or it could be this one over here. I clicked on it and came down to the gift box, selected inches, and I want to make this a little bit bigger than my actual box is going to be, so I put 6.125, tabbed over to height of 2.125 and 6.125, selected SVG, create, and this is what the box looks like. I right click, save as, and then I just save the SVG file right to my desktop and then make the cut. We'll import it. So to import it, you click on SVG, add a new page, go to the file you just saved, and you'll notice that it comes in very, very big. So not having time to show you how I made it small, I just broke it apart into pieces. So I'll show you the pieces. I have these pieces here are half the box, and then the other half of the box I put over here, and I added tabs so you could glue them together, because even you'd have to have a 15-inch wide cutter to handle this big of a piece.